Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Digimon Adventure 2020, episode 26. So, last we left off, after Devimon's defeat, and everything, they fell from the Cloud Continent and are headed down to the sea when they're attacked by Mamimon and Big Mamimon. They manage to defeat them using some clever tactics and get down to the sea. Meanwhile, back in the human world, the rest of our chosen ones are remotely battling with their Digimon who are in the net against the forces that are there and having trouble with it. And Hikari comes along and sees what they're doing. So yeah, there's that as well. So I've talked about it before, but I watched this reaction series, or not reaction series, review series. It's basically, you could almost say it's like a podcast, by this YouTuber named Billiam, and he does like this discussion video every month, once a month, with his friends and I think his girlfriend. I'm not 100% sure. But they discuss the episodes of the show for that period of time. And the most recent one, which just came up like the other day, included the last set of episodes and all. So it talked about the last episode with Mamimon and Big Mamimon, and they did not like it. Like, they really did not like that episode. They thought it was really bad. And one of them even said it infuriated him when he saw it. Billiam himself said that he didn't like it the first time watching, but he kind of cooled down on it his second time through, and kind of like laughed at it a bit more and everything, at the absurdity of it. And I'm just like watching them, and I'm like thinking like, okay, it wasn't the best episode of the show by any means. In fact, I would say it was one of the weaker ones, but it wasn't bad. Like, you guys are acting like it was this really bad episode or something. It really wasn't. It wasn't that bad, at all. It was goofy. It was kind of ridiculous, but it wasn't bad. Goofy and ridiculous don't automatically equal bad just because everything we had before that, especially in the few episodes specifically before that, was super intense and exciting and fun. And a lot of the video had them complaining about a lot of stuff. They also complimented a lot of stuff, mind you. They also talked about a lot of stuff they loved, such as the fight with Done Devimon, or Done Devimon, as they call it. I don't know, I felt like Done Devimon might be a little silly, but honestly, Digimon gets a little silly sometimes, so maybe it is Done. I was pronouncing it Done. But anyways, they loved that and everything. But there was, yeah, they were a lot more critical in that one. And I believe it was Billiam who also said in this recent review video that he wasn't as excited to see what was going to happen going forward anymore. Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, of course. That he wasn't as hyped as he had been. And that's, I don't get that, because my hype is still kind of like riding high with this series. In fact, it's higher than it was at the beginning. I'm more excited. Like, I think that I can't speak for everyone there, because not everyone there had seen the original series. Only only him and the one who I think is his girlfriend did. And she only saw it because he showed it to her. But they were like, they seem to have these nostalgia goggles on for the original series, and I think that the other two there just have the same kind of interests and everything as them. So it's like, I think that the way the original series is set up is more their kind of cup of tea. And this new one, this reboot, is more, it's set up and presented and paced in a way that they're just not as they're not as entertained by. I mean, for me personally, it doesn't bother me. I don't mind it as much. So, like, I've been all good with it. But I mean, it's their opinion and they're allowed to have it. I'm not saying they can't have that opinion. I'm just saying that it's like they were really noticeably more negative this current one than they had been in previous review videos for these episodes. Much more negative than they have been. Um, but anyway, anyway. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes now because we now have Patamon. We have Patamon having joined. Takeru is basically a full-fledged member of the group at this point. Um, they got down with Eldoradimon into the water and are headed to continue on their way. The big thing right now is definitely the fight with on the net and just trying to stop all those ships from crashing into each other again. So I'm interested to see where that goes. For very, very much. Um, so we'll just have to see. Um, in the meantime, I guess we'll just get this started and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Yeah, this was a good one. We're definitely getting into the next arc here. Like, the Devimon arc, we're done with that. And I think this episode was kind of like the finishing touch to that. Um, and I say it's specifically this episode instead of like a couple episodes back or last episode or whatnot, because we still had the ongoing thing with the battle in the net and trying to stop all the ships. That was still part of the Devimon arc. And so with that having finished up in this episode, next episode starts the next arc. That's how I'm quantifying it. That's the wrong word. I know that's the wrong word. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean. That's how I'm organizing it out to be. um, but yeah, so either way, this was a very enjoyable episode. It was cool seeing Seadramon. Seadramon is a classic Digimon. Like that is classic. And we got two different forms as well, Raru Seadramon and Mega Seadramon. Two different ultimate forms. I believe Metal Seadramon is the Mega form then. So, which makes sense because Metal Seadramon was one of the Digimon Emperors or whatever they were called in the original series. So, yeah. Along with Piedmon and Puppetmon, and I can never remember what the fourth one was. But yeah. Either way. So I like how our introduction to Seadramon is like, okay, Seadramon and Ebidramon are fighting. Seadramon freezes and devours Ebidramon. All right, why the fuck not? It's like, I like lobster, right? But I did not expect that. Like, I don't remember if that was ever shown in the original series or not, but so far this series, I definitely do not believe we've ever seen a Digimon eat another Digimon. I might be wrong, I might be forgetting about something, but I don't believe we have, at least. We've seen them attack other Digimon plenty and kill other Digimon even, but not eat. It's like, cheese. But the Seadramon attacks and it evolves into the first one evolves into Waru Seadramon. So it starts to fight them. They fend it off okay enough, but then it calls for help from Mega Seadramon. And so the two Seadramon begin to attack them, ends up too much. Eventually, they manage to get the upper hand again, but then more Seadramon come in, and things have to be saved. The day has to be saved by the rest of the Chosen Ones, who are transported back to the digital world very suddenly because of Hikari being called to the digital world. Um, and their partners are transported back as well from the net. So yeah, um, everything works out, and at the end of the episode, everyone's back together. Even Hikari is there, and yeah, that means we're definitely getting into like bringing that up now. Like this last arc definitely had the focus on like TK joining the Chosen Ones. This one's going to do probably the same for Hikari. So in the coming episodes, we're probably going to meet Gatomon, and if it goes in any way according to the original, we're probably going to have Myotismon as the main villain of this arc, which I'm super okay with. I loved Myotismon in the original, especially because in the dub, he's voiced by the same English dub voice actor who does Old Man Joseph Joestar from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders dub, and I guess obviously um, Diamond is Unbreakable as well. Richard Epcar. I met him at Youmacon, not last year. I think in 2018. Yeah, I think it was 2018. But either way, I have met him. He's really fucking tall. Like the dude is really huge. But anyway, yeah, I'm really excited for Myotismon. I'm really excited for Gatomon, obviously, because Gatomon is one of my favorites. um, but yeah, this episode was really just fun. It was a really good battle with the Seadramon. Um, it wrapped up the entire plot point with the Zoomon or whatever they were called, attacking the ships and stuff. But they just got away. They weren't even defeated. They just left, and the dark energy that was left behind by them got sent to the digital world. But we don't know what that actually means yet. So that hasn't even come into play yet. That's interesting in and of itself. Um, so yeah, there's not much else to actually say about it. It was a really cool episode. I really enjoyed it. I like how they were working up to the stuff with Hikari and everything. Um, and everyone's back together, so everything's going to continue on for now. And they're just going to, as Leomon put it, move forward. Not really much else they can do at this point. So I'm hoping that we get to see a bunch more really cool Digimon going forward, both enemy Digimon and maybe even ally ones. I really don't expect that we're gonna get any of like the really like cool ones that we see in other generations in the original series, such as Vmon or uh, Renamon or Guillamon or any of them. I doubt we're going to see any of them. I would love to see Terriermon, but I doubt we're going to see Terriermon either. I would love to see like Digimon like that, but yeah, I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. We're probably going to see the other ones like the kind we've been seeing. But I'd like to see some more of the classic ones. I'd love to see Meramon, for example. Meramon would be awesome to see here. Um, and just various others going forward like that. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm very excited though. I am very excited. Like I said in the pre-thoughts, like I don't understand why like the hype has died down like it has for Billiam. It's like it's all-time high for me. And in this episode definitely even made that more apparent. Like this series is fantastic. And I've put it like this in the past. I haven't said it for a while, but I've said it in previous reactions to this series. But I feel that Digimon Adventure 2020 is as good as I remember the original being. That it actually is the quality that I remember the original series being when I was a kid and when I saw it. Because I've tried to look back on the original series at points, just little bits and pieces here and there, and it's it's aged. It's aged, and not most gracefully. There's a lot of it that is hard to watch, and part of that is the dub, admittedly, because the dub is so fucking goofy. Um, but it has, in general, just very much aged, and not the most gracefully at all times. So it's like this one is more of like it's the hype that I felt as a kid watching the original, but it actually feels like now as an adult, as being able to more analyze it rather than just watch it because ooh, funny characters and whatnot. I can see that it actually is that quality. It's not the best series I've ever watched or even reacted to on this channel, not by any means, but I'm very much enjoying it. And I again, it's still very high quality nonetheless. Um, there are certain things that the original series has. I will agree with Billiam and his friends has done a little better on. And I'll admit the pacing in the original series is very different than the pacing here, especially with the evolutions. The pacing on the rest of this has been a lot better, but the evolution specifically was better in the original because it drew them out a lot more. But in this one, you get so many evolutions a lot quicker, so it feels less, I guess you could say, earned, and I'll agree to that. It feels less earned than in the original, where they put forth a lot more effort into the evolutions and getting them to go further and all. Um, but I think that's fine. Like I've said, it doesn't really bother me that much. It's noticeable, and I acknowledge there's that flaw, but it personally hasn't bothered me because I feel with this series, with where it's what it's doing, I feel like it's still handling it really well, and it's still overall the pacing is still much better. I am just more invested in the characters than in the original, and the story it takes some notable differences that I think are actually really damn good. Another thing that they brought up in their recent video on this was that we never actually found out what Devimon's motivation was. And this is true. Because when Leomon was fighting Minotauramon, Minotauramon mentioned that he believed in Devimon's mission, his goal, his ideals. But we never actually found out what that was because Devimon, he just like pops in. It's like he brings up something about my old friend, referring to I believe he was Tokomon at that time. Maybe, I'm not sure, but the Holy Digimon. And then basically the fight begins, and with every evolution Devimon has, his mind kind of goes more and more to the point where he's just we never actually find out what his goal was. But while that is notable and while that is an issue, but it might be revealed in the future, or it might just be like the most general sense of what we already kind of knew, and that was taking over the digital world and all of that jazz. There might not be a lot to it, and that's okay. In the end, we'll see. And even if we don't get any more on that in the future, I'm fine with how it ended. I'm fine with how it turned out. In fact, I feel that not knowing what his motivations might have been, and why why other Digimon like that would have been willingly following him, I think that adds a little bit of an air of mystery, and makes him as a villain even more interesting. Um, because not everything needs to be just like thrown at us and like exposited to our faces. Sometimes, like, we have to remember we're basically seeing this through the point of view of our main characters. So why would these bad guys just exposit their plans all the time? Why would they tell them their motivations and everything? Like, Minotauromon telling that much to Leomon, like, that made sense from the context of their characters, from what we found out about them. But, like, Devimon's not going to say what his goals are to them. There would be no reason for him to have done so. So I actually think it works maybe a little better this way. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We might end up finding out in the future what his plans were. We might. We don't know at the moment. But again, in the meantime, I'm happy with what we got. I have no complaints. Well, no real complaints. And so we're gonna move on. We're gonna see the rest. And there's like, again, there was like 37 or 39 episodes, something like that. No, that was a different series, wasn't it? No, there's like 66 episodes for this series, right? Let me look it up real quick. I can actually check just on my anime list. Which I definitely need to update. I keep forgetting to update that. Yeah, there's 66 episodes total. At least for this, they might do like another season or whatnot afterwards. But at least for now, there's 66 episodes. And this was 26, so there's 40 more episodes to go. And they could do technically 2 arcs within that time, but I think they might only do 1 more arc, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It'll depend on a lot of factors, I feel. But I'm very excited to see where this goes, because this is just, in my eyes, it's fantastic. I've loved most of the changes they've made. And I just feel like it's been such an improvement over the original. And I like the original still, I do. But in my eyes, there's no competition that this is better in almost every way. And now that we have finished with the Devimon arc, now that Hikari has joined them in the digital world, but is yet to get her partner Digimon, Gatomon, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Digimon Adventure 2020, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.